One question I get all the time is, where do you set your tool rest for spindle turning? The short answer is, it needs to be set above the center line. So let's take a closer look at that and see what we're actually going to do. I said the short answer to setting the tool rest was to set it above the center line, but that's going to vary from person to person and how you hold your tool, where it's comfortable to hold your tool. You know, a short person's comfortable position might be down here. If you're taller, you might be up here. So whatever your comfortable position is, that's where you'll set your tool rest. And we'll lock it down. And now we're ready to start turning. Now keep in mind, as you're turning this stock down and it gets to be a smaller diameter, you're probably going to have to lower that tool rest a little bit to get back into your comfortable position. Set your bevel of the tool on the wood and hold your tool at whatever's comfortable for you. If you're comfortable holding your tool down low, then when you ride that bevel, your tool is going to be down like this. If you're more comfortable holding your tool up higher, more in a level position, and you're on the bevel, then that's going to be where your tool position is. And now you'll raise your tool rest up to the bottom of your tool and lock it in place. And that sets your tool height. After you get your tool rest set to the height that's comfortable for you, now we're ready to knock the corners off of the block. You'll start out rubbing the heel of the bevel on the wood, slowly draw the gouge back, and once you start engaging the cut, then you can start moving your gouge back and forth to round it out. Start by rubbing the bevel on the heel. Draw back till you see shavings come. Now that we've got shavings, we'll guide it back and forth to round. We'll turn our speed up a little bit now and start making some smoother cuts. Rotate the gouge around about 45 degrees. Rub the heel. Bring it back towards you. Lift the handle. And now you've engaged the cut. And you can see that's much smoother cut. Now the question is, how do you know if you're riding the bevel? There's a simple little trick to find out. If you take a magic marker, blacken that bevel, and now we can make a test cut, and wherever the tool is rubbing on the wood, it'll erase that magic marker. And Now you can see I was riding the bevel. It erased it from the heel all the way up to the tip. To make a bead with your spindle gouge, you start out by riding the heel of the gouge on the wood, slowly draw it back towards you, lifting the handle, and once the chips start coming off the tip of the gouge, you lift the handle a little bit more, rotate the flute, and swing. Now the reason you have to do all that is you're trying to keep that bevel on the wood. So as you're going around that corner, you've got to swing to keep that bevel on the wood. So you draw back the tool. Once it starts cutting, lift the handle, rotate, and swing. All in the same motion. Okay, it's starting to cut. Lift, rotate, and swing. And wind up with the flute fully closed. Rub the heel, draw back your handle, raise the handle, when it engages, lift, rotate, swing. Lift, rotate, swing. Lift, rotate, and swing. Lift, rotate, and swing. To cut the other half of the bead, we'll use the parting tool and part out some material to give us some room to work with, and then that'll give us room to roll our bead over. And we'll make this side of the bead the same way. Once we start cutting, we'll lift, rotate, and swing. Lift, rotate, and swing. And wind up in a closed position. There's our bead. To make a cove cut, we're going to start with our gouge with the flute in a closed position. Make a little bit of a plunge into the wood. Once it starts cutting, we're going to open the gouge, lower the handle, and make the cut. It's almost like scooping ice cream. Engage the wood, rotate, and drop the handle. same on the reverse side. Rotate, drop the handle. Engage the wood, rotate, drop the handle. Just like scooping ice cream. Oops. That's caused from the flute not being fully closed. Enter the wood, drop your handles, and rotate. Enter the wood, rotate, drop your handle. Enter the wood, rotate, drop your handle. Do the same thing on the other side. Enter the wood, rotate, drop your handle. Enter the wood, rotate, drop your handle. Enter the wood, rotate, drop your handle. Now we're going to use our round-nosed negative rake scraper. We have a little bit of a line right here in the center from using the gouge. We'll want to rest or set our tool rest so that we're cutting right about the center. And we're going to come in and just make a very light sweeping motion and straighten out that cut just a little bit. Very light pressure. And with it being negative rake scraper, you can rotate 180 degrees and get the other side. And that cleans up that cut very nicely. Using the skew is basically the same as the gouge. You'll start out rubbing the heel of the skew on the wood. Slowly lift your handle, draw it back towards you, and then you'll see the shavings start peeling up over the edge of the skew. You want to keep your cutting edge at about 45 degrees to your stock. Rub the heel. Now that shavings are starting, you can peel right on. And we're using basically this bottom 1/3 to 1/2 of the cutting edge on the skew. From roughly the center point back almost to the short point. And you can see it gives you a nice smooth cut. To make a bead with your skew, we're going to start out by righting the heel. Rotate the cutting edge to about 45 degrees to the wood. And with this bottom or short wing, we're going to lift the handle until that engages. And then we're going to roll the skew and push in towards the center at the same time. Lift, roll, and push in. And that'll make our bead. There's our bead. So we lift the handle. Once it engages, rotate, push in. Lift the handle, rotate, push in. Now to make a V cut with the skew, we're going to start out with the skew perfectly vertical. We're going to make a plunge cut in, and then we're going to come back on each side of that plunge cut and start making our V. Now when we start making that V, keep in mind this bevel is the direction that you're going into the wood to make that V. If you're cutting from the left, you'll be going in this direction. If you're cutting from the right, you'll have to rotate around until that bevel is pointing the direction that you want that side of the V to be. Make a plunge cut, then step to the side, nibble out a little bit, step to the other side, nibble out a little bit, nibble a little more, and there we have a V cut. With the parting tool, you want to enter the wood at about the 10 o'clock position, make a plunge cut, and at the same time slowly lift your handle and just kind of follow that tip towards the center line. It's going to make kind of an arcing motion. So we'll start the cut with the tip of the parting tool entering the wood about the 10 o'clock position. We'll plunge forward and arc down towards the center line as we make the cut. So it's kind of an arcing motion for the cut.